Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 27th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We have closed out this work week, more or less. I think I'm actually going to be doing some overtime tomorrow, so it's not quite done for me. But longtime listeners know that I'm a sucker for some OT these days, so I'm very hard up for it. I'll give it to me. I actually spent like an extra 15 minutes on the job, thinking I was going to work more, and then luckily someone just came through, and I was like, you know what, we'll be here tomorrow. So I just went about my business. That was nice. Let's see here. Let's talk dubs. Let's talk wins. I hopped on the scale today and it read 257, and I was very happy with that. Now, of course, yes, I'm still a fatty. I'm still a biggin. Okay, fine. But this is progress. I mean, saying before at the start of summer, we were or not start of summer. When I actually was giving a shit, it was around like midsummer. And I was at 283. Now I'm at 257. So this is I was thinking about this today. This is the thinnest I've been since probably middle of high school, if I'm lucky. Not even, maybe, because I was still probably pushing. I was probably pushing 250, 260. Yeah, so around that time. Yeah. It's so weird. It was a surreal moment for me. Also, I still do the thing. I always mention this, that I weigh myself and then I go, okay, now in your head, how much do you weigh naked? Because that I want to get as much pounds immediately off as possible. I'm such a cut weight fucking Carl. But yeah, of course we're in the winter gear, so I'm like, yeah, we're really at about maybe 250, 251. I'm maybe hyping myself a little too hard, patting myself a little too much, but this is a dub, and I'll take it. Granted, I know that I'm already gonna fuck this shit up this weekend. I'm going to eat so bad, but you gotta take the dubs as they can. And I figured, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and mark this milestone on my podcast for myself later to say, yeah, you did that. You were as close to skinny as you could be that day, man. Yay. But yeah, okay, food corner. To celebrate, and because I was very lightheaded, I went and got candy. I splurged on some candy, and I got a Sour Patch Kids watermelon, and they were banging, bussin' even. Granted, I've definitely gotten the thing where I ate like about half of them, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. And then I save some for another day. And then of course I had my Cheetos and my Nos. So I was pretty wired. I got my energy back, got that lick back in a big way. But here I am now, nice and comfy cozy, ready to start my weekend and, deliver you guys some news. Sorry, I know it was a bit of a long-winded intro, but I had some stuff to get off my chest. I'm going to go ahead and take my little startup, and then we'll get into some news. Oh, yeah. Okay. Whew. From the Associated Press. U.S. fighter jets strike Iran-linked sites in Syria in retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops. U.S. fighter jets launched airstrikes early Friday on two locations in eastern Syria linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Pentagon said, in retaliation for a slew of drone and missile attacks against U.S. bases and personnel in the region that began early last week. The strikes reflect the Biden administration's determination to maintain a delicate balance. The U.S. wants to hit Iran-backed groups suspected of targeting the U.S. as strongly as possible to deter future aggression, possibly fueled by Israel's war against Hamas, while also working to avoid inflaming the region and provoking a wider conflict. I gotta tell you, I don't think they're doing a good job. Personally, I do not think so. Seeing the scared look on Anthony Blinken's face every time I see this man in the Middle East is just not reassuring. Hearing their fucking statements, it's like, bro, we went... I shit you not. We've went from calling this man, ooh, Dark Biden or whatever the fuck, to he's genocide Joe, bro. Because it's literally like, we see what you're doing, dude. Like, we are a group of people who have grown up. We've lived past 9/11, or there's Zoomers who have seen that shit or lived with relatives who've talked about it, whatever, experienced it, and they're like, no, like, we all see what's going on here, and people are reacting. People are saying, yo, this is gross, this is disgusting. And not to mention, when you're actually on, in, the Middle East, there are, of course, other countries reacting to it. And I know that we go out of our way to be like, yeah, Iran bad, they're the bad guys. I think also Syria can get kind of painted with the same kind of brush. But, at the end of the day, they have an amazing message in this situation of saying, hey, look, Israel is occupying all this shit. They are doing atrocities day after day after day after day. So, we're against that. We are funding these groups that are going to do something about it. So, in terms of what is the U.S. doing, it's like, oh, well, you're just doing retaliation against those forces. And it's like, well, I don't think that plays well on the ground. And, I obviously get it. This is tit for tat shit. And, it's going to happen. And we're going to see it happen again and again and again, time and time again. But, I don't think people are going to be stoked to see it. I don't think people are going to be happy to, live through this and experience this shit. You know what I mean? Let's see here. What else did I want to pull from this? Also, I just gotta say, most of these stories today are from, the Middle East. I really wanted to talk about, once again, what's going on in Gaza right now. But this story is, obviously with Iran and, spots in Syria that got hit. I know, let's see here. What parts were hit? Syrian opposition activists confirmed the U.S. strikes in Syria's eastern province of Deir el-Zor. Let's see. The main target was an area known as the Farms, outside of the town of Mayadeen. Let's see here. And then there was another place known as the Green Belt in Bukamal area that borders Iraq, according to Abu Layla. Some people were evacuated before the strikes because the retaliation was expected. Also, I don't know of any kind of loss of life. In terms of the strikes from the Iranian Royal Guard Corps, I think there was none outside of a death of like a contractor that died from like cardiac arrest, like from the explosions or something, like as a result. But, a lot of, military infrastructure was hit in that situation. And, I think we kind of just were responding in kind. So, there's that. We'll call that coverage. I'll say that's good. Obviously, you can read that and tell me where I got it wrong there. I love that. Actually, no, I don't. I don't love that. But, you can always tell me nicely. Hey, you didn't do this right. Let me see here. Let's move on to the next thing. This one's hard. This one's rough. From Al Jazeera. Arab world condemns Al Jazeera journalist family killing in Israeli raid. Mohammed, this is kind of the little bit of the excerpt here. Mohammed Hassin has been glued to the television in recent weeks, watching Gaza's destruction by Israeli air raids. And when an Israeli air raid killed the family of Al Jazeera's Gaza bureau chief Walel Dahdouh on Wednesday, Hussein watched the story unfold. It's a crime, the 45-year-old taxi driver said, his left hand fiddling with prayer beads as he sat on a busy thoroughway in Beirut, and a violation of human rights. On Wednesday, the news broke that Dahdouh's family was killed in an attack in southern Gaza. His family had fled northern Gaza to the south on Israel's advice, but were killed anyway. And advice is saying it nicely. It was a pamphleted warning that I feel like from Israel's side, it's like, yeah, they're lucky that we're even giving this out. But what's the point? I've covered this before, where it's like they are literally saying this, but then you're bombing hospitals, you're bombing southern areas, and being like, well, Hamas is there, So Hamas is there or they're underground. So like, yet again, another casualty to Hamas. And it's like, this is crazy. This is insane to me. It is just never going to make sense, and it's never going to be right. You do not justify this. It's like, you just can't. And to see like someone like Dahdouh, who has put so much work into journalism, who has made their whole life about telling the truth, putting the story out there, and risking his life on a day-to-day basis. And, while he was doing his job, his family was killed in this airstrike. No warning, once again, in the southern part of Gaza, doing everything you were quote unquote supposed to do. It is so frustrating to see these stories, and yet the focus is going to be on just what happened on October 7th, or terrorism bad. We have to stop terrorism no matter what. Wherever we see evil, we have to vanquish it. Like this kind of narrative is insane when you literally are doing atrocities that are killing people, just wiping out families. It is infuriating. It is so sad to me. Dahdouh lost his wife, a daughter, a grandson, and a 15-year-old son who wanted to follow in his footsteps into journalism. They are among the more than 7,000 people killed, 3,000 of whom are children, in Gaza since the start of the hostilities. That's just since the start of the hostilities. We're not talking about everything leading up to this. Like, I wish I could just take you guys on this tangent and like we could all learn together all of this shit and really walk the road and then say, well, that's context. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this happened. Like, no, you wouldn't say that if you had to live through that. You wouldn't say that if you were of a generation of people that have been damn near wiped out. You just fucking couldn't. Let's see here. To those in Gaza, Dahdouh's presence on their screens has been a constant in recent years. Midian media praised his work and expressed their sorrow that a man so used to covering the tragedies of others now had to face his own. And I give him so much credit. I think, he was, like I said, he was literally doing live coverage as shit happens, and he's like, okay, like I gotta go to my family now. I gotta do this. But yeah, like the cameras kept rolling, the pictures kept coming, because he knew that, like, look, I'm suffering, fellow Palestinians are suffering with me. Like, we have to do this. This has to keep going. And like, I can't stop. And like, that is the thing that is a resounding thing, is like, everybody knows that like Dahdouh's going to come back. And like, he's going to, he's not going to be stopped. He's not going to be silenced. And the Palestinians are not going to be silenced. This is not going to stop just because you want to do violence. Just you can try this shit as much as you want, but you're just not going to end this conversation. You're not going to change the narrative. I'm sorry. For me, I know that that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this kind of work. Like, yeah, I know I don't get banger views. I know that like I don't do it the best, but like when it comes down to it, I feel like, hey, I get a chance to speak my voice and have a platform and like lend it to voices like this, so that like we all know what at least it is for the record. You know what I mean? We at least get the chance to see this shit for ourselves. And like, I know we can't actually hold fucking Genocidal Joe accountable here. We can't hold his administration accountable. I mean, we kind of can in so many ways, but like at the end of the day, like this is Western hegemony shit. And like these motherfuckers are just trying to keep the status quo. And it's so fucking sad what they're willing to do to maintain it. Like, this is nothing. This is something that like Joe Biden's not gonna fucking talk about. He's not going to fucking discuss. He's not going to say like, oh, well, my heart goes out to these people. No, he's trying to like fudge these numbers down. Actually, before I move on, I've talked about Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State. He's tried in weeks prior to tell Al Jazeera to tone it down. Why don't you tone down this coverage? You're being a bit crazy. You're not really like standing with Israel right now. Why don't you like, tone it down? That's crazy, Tony. Fuck you. Fuck all those motherfuckers. So there's that, and we're not done. I know there's more. From NPR. Israel says it's expanding ground activities in Gaza as internet blackout takes hold. Ahead of possible ground invasion of the Gaza Strip, the Israeli military announced that its forces were expanding ground activities in Gaza Friday night as the besieged territory was plunged into a communications and internet blackout. The announcement comes as Israel's military has increased its bombing campaign in Gaza to target what it says is underground infrastructure used by Palestinian militant groups, including Hamas, whose deadly attack on Israel October 7th sparked the current conflict. Yes, that is the only reason this happened. Hamas just did this on a whim. They were just on a lark. They were just like, you know what? Wouldn't it be just fucking crazy if we just went to Israel and just saw some shit? We just went sightseeing? No. Okay, whatever. Fine. It's just very frustrating how this shit gets covered. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Let me just get to the highlight portion. Phone calls and text messages to and from Gaza had sputtered around sundown Friday. Paltel, a major Palestinian telecommunications company, announced that a barrage of airstrikes had cut key communications infrastructure. The intense bombing in the last hour caused the destruction of all remaining international routes linking Gaza to the outside world, the company said in a statement on the social media site X. Once again, something that is just going on deaf ears in terms of the, Israeli military, in terms of the West. We don't care about that. Fine. That is business as usual for us. Keep it going. You're doing great. Woohoo. But these are the little bit of crumb of aid, that there's been no more of that. I have nothing else to report on that front, sadly. But now there's no fuel, so you can't run generators. There's no electricity. There's now no internet. You cannot communicate, which is intentional. They're going to say, oh, we want to stop Hamas. But no. Just like with the fucking Dahdouh story, you are trying to silence people. You are trying to cut communications off so that people do not see and talk and record your atrocities. And that shit is fucked up. It's monstrous beyond belief. I just cannot stress that enough. I've just been sweating all day because I've been working my ass off. And now I came here and really thinking about this shit, really fucking talking about this shit, got me fired up. So yeah, my heart is with those people. My heart is with the people right now suffering and struggling right now, living in a horror warehouse, just trying to make it to tomorrow. So, I pray that they do. I pray that they get more aid in there. I pray that we can at least get fucking internet access. It's crazy. You motherfuckers are afraid of some fucking cell phones. It's crazy. Let me move on and let me clear my throat, take a break, and we got one more thing to cover. From the Middle East to Maryland, I got an update for you guys. It's not good news. I'm sorry, though. Well, I guess it's maybe good news if you're one of those, revenge justice junkies. But it's, I would say bad news. But whatever. From CBS News, Baltimore. Pedro Argote, suspect in killing of Maryland judge, found dead. The man suspected of fatally shooting Maryland Circuit Judge Court Andrew Wilkinson outside his Hagerstown home has been found dead, according to the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Police said that around 11 o'clock a.m., Thursday, that they located a deceased person who they positively identified as Pedro Argote during a search in Williamsport, Maryland. Let's see. Now, Wilkinson, he was a judge. He was presiding over Argote's divorce. I believe he ruled heavily in favor of Argote's now ex-wife, and I guess this guy's revenge was I'm gonna just pull up on you when you're outside of your house and I'm gonna just kill you. But he was found Argote's body was found in a wooded area between Clear Spring Road and Bottom Road, about a mile northwest of where his vehicle was found last week. So there's that. It's in a weird slew of shootings, I guess. I guess obviously ramping up to the main one we've covered the other day. Now, with the Card situation, Robert Card, he's still at large. Still don't know where he is. They have, though, removed the shelter-in-place thing, which I thought was kind of surprising. But, I guess it's I gotta get back to work. Capitalism. I don't know. But I'll definitely keep you posted on that as well. Okay, good. I did a lot better on time than I expected. I know I went into rant mode a couple of times there. I'm sorry. My bad. But that's the episode. If you'd like to help out and support the effort, I do have a Patreon. That's the thing I got a shill at the end. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you'd like to support the effort, you do become a newsie. I shout you out at the top of the month, plug a project you're on, thing like that. Feedback, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. That's a free way to hit me up, as well as all the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube, helps out. Also, there might even be a time where I might not be able to get an episode up. Oh, excuse me. Oh, that's the end. I don't care. I'm burping. Ooh, raw. It's just sometimes hey, at the emergency failsafe, it's YouTube. So come to the spot, subscribe, please, thumbs up. And then, all the reviews are great. All the stars are great. If you want to leave a comment, hopefully it's positive. You know what I mean? Constructive criticism is good, as opposed to just, I'm going to be a critic. I'm going to be a Muppet from the mezzanine. Don't be that guy. But yeah, that's the episode. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.